Wheelchair rugby gets me up in the morning. It's a great sport, it's a privilege to be part of it. And it's probably a sport that's changed my life. It's given me a career after my spinal cord injury. Make your disability a positive.
Disability doesn't mean inability, does it?
Absolutely not. No,
What would you say to future employers to employ someone with a physical disability?
It's really important for future employers to employ disabled people. I think it brings new ideas. Disabled people are really good at problem solving, finding different ways in order to get around life's problems that maybe an able-bodied person wouldn't think of. So being able to bring those skills, problem solving skills, is really, really good for any employer, I think.
They say variety is the spice of life, isn't it?
Exactly. I think there's always going to be knockbacks and there's always going to be rejections. And sometimes they're really difficult to get over. And if you have a flurry, trying to apply for jobs now, it's not like it used to be where you can just send your CV off. There's websites that you've got to go through page after page, and you're going to get rejections, unfortunately. But I think just to keep going, keep trying to find new ways to enhance your skills, whether it be volunteering, whether there's always kind of workarounds. Not necessarily going to go the same route that perhaps able-bodied people do, but the more you can do, the more you can build your CV, the better it will be, and in the end you'll end up with a job that hopefully you'll love.
This year's Disability History Month is around disability and employment. What's been your experience being with employment before and after your accident? Give us a synopsis of your education and career so far.
Wasn't particularly academic at school. I left school at 16 and went to work for Sainsbury's. I spent 5 years doing that, and if I hadn't have had my car accident and broke my neck, I'd probably still be there now. After I had my accident in 2003, I went back to college and did A-levels, and then I went to university and studied law. Your average 16-year-old guy liked playing football, liked hanging out with his mates, and education wasn't really for me at that point.
And how hard did you find it getting employment after your injury?
I think I've been pretty lucky. I've tended to always stick to the public sector. So after I left university, I did my PGCE, my teaching qualification, and then I went into lecturing. So I was lecturing law. And yeah, I've always kind of tried to pick jobs in the public sector or in the charity sector, where I think they're a bit more open to employing people with disabilities.
How can you turn your disability into a positive when looking for work?
I think it's really important. Obviously, disability, the stigma around it, especially with employers, and being able to turn your disability to a positive is really important. I mean, when I was
How do you do that?
So when I was at university, I was the rep for a legal database company called LexisNexis. And I remember in my interview, I said that my disability would help me in this role because I stick out on campus. There's the guy in the wheelchair, he's the LexisNexis rep. So if you can do that, if you can make your disability kind of a positive rather than a negative, I think that really goes to helping you gain employment.
What are the benefits to you personally from being employed over the last few years?
Yeah, so after I had my accident, I didn't really do anything for a couple of years. Kind of watched daytime TV and my brain became pretty mush, really. And I originally went back to college just to get out of the house, really, just to kind of give me something to do. And it was great. I enjoyed it. The holidays, I found the holidays were quite hard because it was going back to doing nothing. My friends were starting to kind of get married and things like that. So nights out were getting less and less frequent.
That's just age, though, Adam.
That's just, yeah, absolutely. It gives you something to get up for in the mornings. It gives you a target. It gives you, I think this job that I do now for GBWR, while I love it and I love coming to competitions and interacting with people, it can be quite lonely because otherwise we're working at home, aren't we? We're quite isolated. And I do kind of miss going into college or university just to be able to interact with my fellow lecturers or students. So that's a big thing, just giving yourself something to get up 4 in the morning, giving you a target, giving you things you need to be doing. And that, I think that's really important for you and your mental health as well.
Wheelchair rugby is now your passion and your job. Is that a good thing, Adam?
I think it's a bit of a balance. I think there's some really good things. So, it's relatively easy for me to get fired up and excited about new projects like we're doing here today with Wheelchair Rugby 5's Nationals. But on the other hand, when I've been working on a Monday all day for GBWR, for Great Britain Wheelchair Rugby, and then I go and coach in the evenings, sometimes there can be a bit of overload of wheelchair rugby, and sometimes it's difficult to separate out my professional life and my personal life.
Now you're coaching for Invictus, is that correct?
Yeah, I'm
How have you
lead
found
coach.
that?
It's been really good. So I went out to Dusseldorf last year for the Invictus Games. The atmosphere was unbelievable. It's nothing I've ever experienced before. It was just fantastic experience. Now we've got a new team and we're going to be going out to Vancouver in February. So we're going from the summer in Dusseldorf where it's too hot to really cold now in Vancouver and Whistler, which is the first winter game. So that's really exciting.
That's pretty cool though, isn't it? I mean, it's a job, isn't it? You get paid to do it.
It's a job, yeah, it's a job. Sometimes you have to pinch yourself to go, it's actually a job. But